In different corners of the planet, there are roads that are not just made for travel. They become real tests of survival, a kind of border between life and death. From the wild depths of Bolivia and the icy expanses of Alaska to the snowy trails of the Himalayas, each of these roads instills a primal fear. Today, we are going on a journey along the most dangerous routes of Earth, roads that test courage, endurance, and human willpower. On the high plateau of the majestic Andes, among the harsh landscapes of Bolivia, lies a road whose very name makes people hold their breath. North Yungas, better known as the Road of Death. Its width is only about 3 meters. On one side, a sheer cliff. On the other, a bottomless abyss 100 meters deep. This trail resembles a thin thread stretched between life and death. Roaring winds, dense fog, sharp turns. All this has been taking human lives for decades, turning the route into a legend steeped in fear. It is this mixture of horror and grandeur that made North Yungas one of the darkest and most famous symbols of deadly roads in the world. High above the abyss, on one of the treacherous bends of North Yungas, 2 cars suddenly end up blocked nose to nose. On one side, the rock. On the other, bottomless darkness. The wheels are just a few centimeters from the edge, and the air literally rings with tension. The driver wipes sweat from his forehead. His hands tremble on the steering wheel. The passengers freeze. You can hear how their hearts are pounding frantically. One mistake, and the car will disappear into eternal emptiness. Today, in Bolivia, a safe bypass road has been built. But the old North Yungas still stands, as a reminder of the fragility of human life before the power of nature, and as a magnet for desperate travelers who come here to walk this ropeway on bicycles and motorcycles. Nummer eins. And suddenly, panic. The car starts to tilt dangerously. Oh my God, it is sliding. Step away, move back, quickly. It is falling, help. The screams mix with the sound of the wind, and in these moments it becomes clear. On the road of death, there is no right to make a mistake. Nature here forgives no one. In February of the year 2012, driver John Norton confidently drives his Kenworth W900 along the route that is called the American roller coasters, along the Dalton Highway, the famous ice road of Alaska. The temperature outside is minus 22 degrees, and this is only the beginning of what makes this road one of the harshest on the planet. In front of us is the second route on our list, that very highway that stretches through a silent, icy land. Here rage brutal frosts, blinding snowstorms, piercing winds, and such boundless silence that even your heart seems to start beating more quietly. If the road of death terrifies with its abyss and murderous bends, then the James Dalton Highway instills fear in another way, with endless emptiness, cold, and loneliness that literally presses on your shoulders. This road stretches for almost 666 kilometers, connecting Fairbanks with the tiny settlement of Deadhorse, standing almost on the edge of the Arctic Ocean. It was not created for tourists, but for the needs of the oil and gas industry, and therefore it looks as if it were intended only for the most prepared and the most desperate. For hundreds of kilometers around, only 3 gas stations, a few random stops, and not a single proper hospital or repair shop. In the kingdom of frosts, where in winter the temperature drops to minus 40, even a black bear trembles when crossing the road, and in the distance, a giant truck approaches. The road is covered with slippery gravel. The gusts of wind are so strong that they can easily overturn a large truck, and long, frozen descents turn any vehicle into an icy arrow capable of sliding tens of meters without control. Having crossed the icy tundra of Alaska, our path takes us to China, to one of the most incredible and dangerous roads manually carved in the harsh Taihang Mountains. We are talking about the legendary Guolang Road, a tunnel that seems like a test both for the car and for the nerves. In the 1970s, residents of a tiny village called Guolang decided to pave a route through a sheer rock wall. No machinery, no serious equipment, only bare hands, hammers, and the simplest chisels. In 5 years, they carved in the rock more than 1 kilometer of road, hanging directly above the abyss. The narrow, dark path stretches along a vertical precipice. It is at the same time a monument to human will and a test of courage for everyone who dares to drive here. Today, we see footage from a car that is making its way along Guolang Tunnel Road. When the rain begins outside, the tunnel turns into a real nightmare. Rough stone walls preserve the marks of old hammer blows. Every turn is so tight that the car barely fits into it, making the passengers fall silent and feel as if they are on the edge of the world. One wrong move, and the car will either crash into a wet stone ledge or fall into the gaping void beyond the tunnel wall. And yet there is a frightening beauty in this road. It reminds a person how fragile life is when they are left alone with nature. Leaving behind the gloomy Guolang Tunnel, we head to India, to where the Himalayas rise to the sky with white walls, and any road becomes a test of courage. Zojila is a pass hidden among the snows at an altitude of more than 3,500 meters. For India, it is vital. It is the very pass that connects Srinagar in Kashmir with Leh in Ladakh. But at the same time, Zojila is considered one of the harshest and most dangerous passes in Asia. The weather here is so severe that the road is open only a few months of the year. In winter, so much snow falls on Zojila that it literally paralyzes the entire passage. Snow masses can reach several meters, and then any machinery is simply powerless. But even in summer, the road remains treacherous. Rains wash away the trail, turn it into sticky mud, and cause huge landslides. The road, even if it seems passable, can disappear at any moment. From above, the camera shows tiny cars, as if toy dots crawling along the white slopes. The route runs along a steep mountain wall, and below there is a deep abyss drowning in cold fog. In such moments, you understand. Here, every trip is a game with fate, a real confrontation between humans and the icy elements. Having crossed Zojila, we continue further, to where the roads pass practically along the edge of the clouds. The Karakorum Highway, one of the highest and most dangerous in the world, connects Pakistan and China, winding between the harsh ridges of the Karakorum. The road climbs to an altitude of more than 4,500 meters. Here, there is almost no place untouched by rockfalls, snowfalls, or avalanches. Every turn is a risk. Every kilometer is a challenge. Narrow sections and sharp hairpin bends turn driving a car into a trial where a single mistake is equal to a fall into the abyss. And yet the Karakorum Highway today remains the most important transport artery between the two countries. It has even received the title of the 8th wonder of the world, attracting fearless tourists who dream of conquering this route and feeling how the earth trembles under the wheels at the edge of the world. If the Karakorum frightens with snow and altitude, the Italian Stelvio conquers with its intricate geometry, a multitude of tormenting turns where beauty and danger go hand in hand. The Stelvio Pass is located in the Alps at an altitude of about 2,757 meters. It is considered one of the most picturesque, but at the same time, one of the most dangerous passes in Europe. What is its treachery? In 75 sharp turns stretched along 24 kilometers. Each bend is so narrow that only a small car can squeeze through, and on both sides there is either a rock or an abyss. From above, the road looks like a white ribbon twisted on the mountainside, as if skillfully drawn by an artist's hand. But for drivers who find themselves here for the first time, this beauty can turn into dizziness, literally. One moment of inattention, and the car will fall into a cold abyss. Yet there is something majestic in this place. Snow-covered alpine peaks, green valleys, winding silver roads. All this creates a picture you cannot tear your eyes away from. And it is precisely this combination of splendor and deadly danger that makes Stelvio a truly unforgettable stage of our journey. Leaving Italy, we head back to Asia, to one of the most frightening and narrow sections of our route. The road to the Valley of Fairies, or Fairy Meadows Road, stretches at the foot of the enormous Nanga Parbat, one of the most dangerous peaks of the Himalayas. This clay, unkempt trail, 16 kilometers long, is one of the most extreme roads in the world. It is so narrow that only an old jeep can barely pass through it. On one side, a sheer mountain wall. On the other, a deep chasm without a single guardrail. Every turn demands nerves stronger than steel. One treacherous, slippery stone, one patch of mud, and life can end in an instant. In the rainy season, the road turns into one continuous mire. In winter, it is covered with ice and snow, erasing the last traces by which one could pass. And yet people go there, to reach one of the most beautiful corners of Pakistan. The Fairy Meadows open directly opposite the majestic ridge of the Himalayas, a site for which many are ready to take the risk. There is also a special feature. Part of the route cannot be covered by car. Travelers have to switch to horses or walk, and this turns the road not just into a route, but into a true exam in endurance and courage. Leaving behind the dangerous trails of Pakistan, we move to Europe, to where the harsh winds of the North Atlantic collide with human engineering audacity. The Atlantic Ocean Road in Norway is only 83 kilometers of route that connects small islands of Mura or Romsdal, but it has long gained a reputation as one of the most beautiful, and at the same time, one of the most treacherous roads on the continent. Its special feature is 8 curved bridges that seem to hover above the raging sea. The road runs like a wave above the waves, laying out a thin silver ribbon between the sky and the water. When the sea is calm, a trip along this route turns into a celebration. Cool wind, shimmering sunlight, endless blue, and flocks of seagulls that accompany the cars with light cries. The picture is peaceful, almost poetic. But as soon as a storm approaches, this picturesque idyll instantly turns into a maritime nightmare. Waves rising higher than human height hit directly against the road slabs, drenching cars with thick fountains of salty water. The vehicles seem like tiny, trembling dots, making their way through the fury of the ocean. This route is like a tiny bridge thrown across the anger of nature, which at any moment can explode with a new wave. And despite all this, the Atlantic Road attracts thousands of travelers, photographers, and storm chasers every year. A place where beauty and danger merge into one remains forever in the memory of those who dared to drive along it. After the ocean crests, our journey takes us to a completely different element, into the depths of one of the harshest canyons on Earth. The road through Cotahuasi in Peru runs through a place considered the deepest canyon on the planet, more than 3,300 meters, which significantly exceeds the Grand Canyon in the United States. Tourists walk along the stone trail, smile, take pictures, explore local towns and nature. But the road under their feet is a real predator. Here, there are large gaps in the roadway, incredibly steep turns, and sections where the rock crumbles directly under your soles. A car slowly climbs along the canyon. On the left, a sheer wall like a gigantic gray shield. On the right, a bottomless abyss that makes anyone's breath stop. The route through Cotahuasi is not just a trip. It is an experience that balances between animal fear and inner determination. And if Cotahuasi frightens with the steepness of its slopes, our next stop seems to transport us into a stone labyrinth. Taroko Gorge Road is a route laid through one of the most picturesque and most dangerous gorges in Asia. Here, vertical marble walls seem to close overhead, and below roars the turbulent Liwu River, endlessly grinding the stone. A red bridge thrown across the chasm looks like a powerful brushstroke in a giant marble painting created by nature itself. Even understanding the risk, tourists come here in huge numbers. They walk along narrow paths where each sharp turn literally hangs above the abyss. Inside the dark tunnels, the air grows heavier, the bends become sharper, and the driver's nerves more taut. Taroko is a place of incredible strength and at the same time, fragility. One rockfall from above, one collapse, and life can change forever. Leaving the marble walls of Taiwan, the route again takes us into the Himalayas, onto the same legendary road that has already appeared in our journey. The Karakorum Highway stretches for 1,300 kilometers through roaring rivers and snowy peaks, spreading along the majestic Hunza Valley. From above it, looks like the thinnest thread drawn through giant white mountains. This is a road where the ground under your feet breathes, shifts, and may disappear at any moment. However, it is via this route that we again move towards those same dangerous trails that lead to the legendary fairy Meadows. And here again, a narrow, creaking, barely noticeable dirt road leading to the Valley of Fairies. It runs at an altitude of 8,000 feet, clinging so tightly to the slope that it seems specially created to test people for strength. This is one of those routes where even the most experienced driver understands sooner or later the road will become so narrow that going further by car will be impossible. And then only the walking path remains, the final segment of the frightening journey, which is completed already on your own feet. The next stop is Tianmen, China, a road famous for its 99 turns. From above, it looks like a white silk ribbon encircling the mountain and leading straight to the Heaven's Gate, a giant arch more than 130 meters high. Here, every turn demands incredible concentration. But having overcome this entire winding trail, the traveler receives a reward, a majestic panorama of a natural temple where earth meets sky. Dalton Highway, second appearance of the icy giant. The journey brings us once again back to the Dalton Highway. This lonely, snow-covered highway, more than 660 kilometers long, is rightfully considered one of the most extreme routes in the world. A truck battles hurricane snow. On all sides, a white desert where mountains, wind, and icy darkness merge into a single whole. In winter, the temperature often drops to -50, and every kilometer turns into a battle. After Alaska, the road takes us to France, to Col de l'Iseran, also called Col de l'Irini, one of the most famous alpine passes. Here, dozens of sharp hairpins cut into the mountain slopes, and snow-covered peaks hang above them. In winter, the pass turns into a snow-white postcard, and at the same time into a challenge where beauty is mixed with danger. The car wheels spin non-stop, the engine roars, and the driver, gripping the steering wheel, is both fascinated and tense. Col de l'Iseran is not just a route. It is a journey through the very heart of the French mountains. From France, our path takes us back to India, to the old road that passes through the Himalayas and connects Indian lands with Tibet. The road is narrow, harsh, with steep cliffs and dead turns. It seems to test every driver for bravery. In winter, the snow turns the whole route into a white kingdom, hiding rocks, precipices, and the edge of the road. Here, nature is not just beautiful, it is majestic and merciless. Our next stop is the Vietnamese Ma Pi Leng Pass, about 20 kilometers long, located at an altitude of approximately 1,200 meters. Here, the road climbs along stone ridges, wraps around gray peaks, and connects the cities of Hà Giang, Dong Van, and Meo Vac. Wild cliffs, sharp bends, and the abyss somewhere below. All these make Ma Pi Leng the true king of danger in Vietnam. Despite its deadly beauty, this road remains for local residents the only way to the outside world. The O Quai Ho Pass is one of the highest passes in northwestern Vietnam. An altitude of almost 2,000 meters, constant clouds, and thick haze over the slopes create the feeling that you are driving along a road suspended in the sky. From the top, there open mesmerizing views where mountains and forests form a picturesque landscape that you want to gaze at endlessly. But the road remains dangerous. Steep hairpins, wet surfaces, and sudden fogs. And this part is crowned by the legendary Irohazaka, a Japanese road made up of 48 famous bends. It is considered one of the most winding and dangerous roads on the planet. In autumn, when the surrounding slopes are colored bright red, yellow, and orange, Irohazaka turns into a work of art. But the danger does not disappear anywhere. Each bend is a challenge, and the flow of tourists on weekends makes the road even more stressful. This is how our long, dangerous, and incredibly thrilling travel epic along the most extreme roads of the world turned out. Each of them is a small universe where beauty and danger go hand in hand, and nature reminds us that it always remains stronger than humans. Some roads frighten with icy emptiness, others with sheer cliffs, still others with winds that can overturn a truck, or with turns that take your breath away. But all of them reflect one simple truth. The world is vast, unpredictable, and astonishing. And somewhere out there, beyond the next turn, a story always awaits us. A story about courage, about character, about people who keep moving forward no matter what. Which road impressed you the most? Share your opinion, and do not forget to subscribe so that together we can discover new insane routes, legends, and mysteries of our planet. The journeys continue, which means even more discoveries lie ahead.